start with Mike Vrabel. I mean, I know a couple of years back, you were in kind of a similar role as he's been as a consultant, and now he's in the building. What's it been like kind of interacting with him and having him in the building?
Well, I have a background with Braves from number one before, but also the last 2 years in Tennessee. So I was sort of a second set of eyes for him and a sounding board for him and a fill gaps where needed guy. And, Braves can do all those things. Anytime you're adding good coaches to your staff, he's spending most of his time on offense and special teams right now, but it's just a good resource for us. He'll make a major contribution to our team.
Jim, yesterday Zadarius used the phrase unfinished business several times. Is that kind of the theme heading into this year for you guys?
I don't know. I mean, like maybe a little bit in the off season, but once we get into training camp, our theme every day is embrace that practice and improve and try to keep our eyes on what's most important now. We can't make up for anything last year right now unless we attack each day and we work out inconsistencies. We improve our technique, we improve our teamwork, all those different things. So, further on down the line, we'll have places for themes and things like that. But right now, it's just a work. Go to work every day and try to improve.
Jim, a number of guys have come into this season talking about double-digit sacks. I know you guys kind of balance sacks, pressures, things like that. Were you happy with the sack production across that defensive line last year?
I don't know. There's always things we can improve, but again, I'll sort of refer to the same thing. Like the only thing we can really work on right now is working our craft and our technique and our knowledge of the scheme and all those things. And if we do a good job of those things, then maybe we can be talking about sack totals or anything else at the end of the season. I sort of try to keep my eyes on what's right in front of us right now.
Darius was saying, Jim, that he was like one step away on several plays from finishing the play. So how does he get that next step this year?
Yeah, finishing is a big thing, and I sort of think back. It was a home game. I can't remember. Man, he woke up with just a stiff back, and the trainer's like, he's not going to play today. He played. He missed, I think, like 2 or 3 sacks in that game, and that was more physical in that way. But and I think this has gone a lot. As analytics have gone, and we saw with Miles last year. A lot of times you can win pass rushes and you can force an incompletion, but you really don't get credit for it in the stat book when it comes to sacks and things like that. And that we're just trying to have the defense operate efficiently, get off the field. You guys have put me on a soapbox, but I still don't understand how if you force a quarterback into an intentional grounding, that's not a sack. It should count as a sack because he avoided the sack and it's a spot foul. But anyway, we put a big emphasis on finishing, and obviously there's things at the end. But I was happy, and I've continued to be happy with the pressure that our whole defensive line, not just Zadarius, puts on the quarterback.
Who is benefiting with more reps with Tomlinson out?
Well, it's not just D-line. I mean, we have a lot of guys that are benefiting from a lot of reps, and some guys that need to take a little better advantage of some of the opportunities. But we've been practicing most of the last week, obviously without Dalvin, but also without Shelby. So 2 of our major contributors last year. It just opens up a lot more, guys like Michael Hall, guys like Jawan Briggs, guys like Sam Kamara. Sam Kamara has had a really good camp. He's playing pretty much full-time inside after being a swing guy and mainly concentrating on end last year. But he's been very impressive so far and really taking advantage of a lot of those plays. And you guys know the way we rotate our defensive linemen, we're going to need everybody up there and over the course of the year. So important for all those guys. It doesn't matter who it is: Siaki, Jawan, Mike Hall, Sam. All those guys have benefited from the extra reps.
Jim, toward the end of last year, you talked about JOK. It's time for him to be on the field 100% of the time, or something like that. Do you feel that he's ready for that this year, and do you plan to have him out there pretty much all the time?
Yeah, he's taking strides that way. I would say this, trying to, and you don't want to say load management, but I don't know if there's another word for it. But stuff like that is on our minds, whether it comes to all our position players. We were able to rotate some corners through last year, able to rotate defensive linemen. We were rotating linebackers, mainly because of an injury situation with Awalk and Sione last year. But it was able to benefit a lot of guys as we went further. He got a little taste of it last year being on the field for dime and for some of the packages. We've extended that. He's at a completely different spot right now. Injury notwithstanding, he's at a completely different spot now compared to 2023. His knowledge of the scheme, he's put a really good year under his belt, and I think he's primed for a really good season.
With all the mobile quarterbacks that you guys are going to be facing this year, do you feel like there will be more of an emphasis on pressures, and maybe people aren't going to necessarily have the sack numbers that they did in the past just because guys are getting away from those?
Yeah, I mean, that can work both ways, because you can get a mobile quarterback scramble, and he can start his scramble, get out of the pocket, and you tackle him for a gain of 0 or -1, and it's a sack. Was it really a sack? I don't know. So, so the numbers sort of probably bear out, but, we're used to dealing with mobile quarterbacks. We've added a couple in our division with Pittsburgh, with Russell and with Fields. Baltimore's always, had that guy. And when Burrow has been at his best, he's had really good mobility. I know he's had some injuries over the last couple of years. Maybe that changes their philosophy a little bit, but, it's something that's on our radar every week. And again, like a quarterback scramble and gaining a first down, what's the difference in that as opposed to completing a ball? It's all the same. It just spreads you a little bit thinner defensively, puts more of an emphasis on your speed and your discipline and your pass rush.
Jim Thornhill has talked about feeling frustrated with the calf injury last year and playing through it and just having to deal with that. What are the expectations for him? I know he's put on some muscle and things like that, but feeling like he's finally healthy in this defense.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we're starting to trend toward too many people talking about last year. But, Juan has really attacked the offseason. He's got a lot of pride. He wasn't happy with his performance last year, mainly because of an injury standpoint, right? His performance was good when he was on the field. He just wasn't on the field long enough. So a prideful guy like that, a veteran guy like that, has really attacked the offseason. He's tried to put himself in better position to be able to last 17-plus games for us. And, that's an important part.
It looks like number 25, Velasquez, is a lot more active in this camp than he was all of last season. Where's he at in the second year with the team?
Well, he was a waiver claim at the end, right? So we really didn't get a chance to see this kind of stuff with him. And then once you get into the season, it's not always competitive, right? You got to lay off for the offense, when you're in a scout team period. Your job is to give a look. It's not necessarily to make the play, and, you're trying to avoid collisions and things like that. So, there were times that we saw some good things. I thought he put some good snaps, particularly late in the year when we played a lot of guys in the Cincy game at the end. But he's made a lot of strides. Missing all of training camp and coming to a completely different style takes a little while to catch up. But I like his mindset. I like his physical tools. And I think he's an exciting young player.
Jim, you mentioned the opportunities on the defensive line, and specifically Mike Hall. Just what have you noticed about him kind of taking advantage of those opportunities and adjusting to the NFL now that he's in camp and it's a little more?
Yeah, I mean, all rookies are going to have highs and lows, and Mike's no different. I mean, Juwan's the same way on the D-line. They all do. The thing I've probably been most impressed with Mike is his effort. Like, that's a guy that goes hard all the time. And I tell you what, he's got a great vet leading the way for him that way in Quentin Jefferson. If you guys want to have some fun in practice, watch Quentin Jefferson run to the ball. The guy's been in the league for a long time, has done a lot of things, and he really sets the tempo for the whole group, but also for the young guys. And it's great, being able to see that, and Mike's learning something new every single day. But the thing I've been most proud, a lot of times rookies, they'll experience some rough spots, and like their mind will slow their body down. That hasn't happened to Mike, and I've been proud of him that way.
But you mentioned Clinton, and just what does he add to that interior pass rush, and how important is that interior pass rush?
Well,
opening things up for guys like Miles and Z on the outside.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do to try to take outside pass rush away. There's a lot of different chips and things like that, but you only got one center, and you can slide one way or the other. And our ability to win a one-on-one against a guard is really, really important to our pass rush. And Quentin's a guy that can do that. He's got really good speed. He's got really good hands. He's a veteran player, and he's played in some similar schemes, not 100% the same. So there are some things he's sort of still time on task and trying to learn. But we really appreciate a veteran player like that. If you ever watch, come to practice, like he's out practice 20 minutes early, he's out practice like a half hour later. A lot of times I'm already showered, called my wife, and in my office, and I look out and Quentin's still working on the field. And a lot of times he has a young guy with him when he's doing that. That's extremely important to us, and I'm proud of him for that.
Jim, we got to look at the new facilities, the workout. How have you liked that and taken to it, and how have your guys kind of appreciated the new facilities?
Yeah, I think it's given us a big boost. It's obviously a big commitment from the Haslams. There's a couple things. First, it makes us be able to use our indoor better, right? When the weight room was taking up a third of it or a quarter of it, it just put us so tight, it made it hard to really work in there. This opens that up, so that's job number one. But number two, I think it just gives the players a boost. In 1999, I was with the Titans, and we had lived in trailers for 3 years. The team had moved from Houston. I mean, literally double wide trailers. That was our facility. Locker rooms, meeting rooms, everything else. The week before the regular season, we moved into a brand new facility. And I can't tell you the emotional lift it gave the players. They felt first class. It was really a big boost for us going that year as we made a Super Bowl run. And I think this can do the same thing. When it's all said and done, 100 pounds is 100 pounds. But, Sean Halls did a great job. The designers, all those guys did a great job with making it player friendly, making it where, it sort of forces camaraderie. The walk-through rooms are amazing. I think it can give us a big boost in a lot of different ways. We're trying to be as efficient teachers as we can. We're trying to make the best use of our time. We don't want to waste players' time. We don't want to, be inefficient. Those walk-through rooms, that weight room, just dials that up a little bit. So we owe a great thanks to Jimmy and Dee for making that commitment, because that was a major commitment for it, and it's going to make a big impact in this season. Okay.
Thank you.